Good evening, Taurus. Welcome back to Will's Cartomancy Tarot. What I like to do is to go on and get you on started with a romance-specific reading, which will be valid until the end of this month. I'm going to be using my regular cards today, as well as I'm going to be using a card from Colette Baron's deck, which I've selected a card to give you some parting advice from the Enchanted Map deck. Okay, let's go on and get started. Taurus, I've already shuffled the deck, and your layout is displayed as we see here. Okay, so prior to getting into your reading, Taurus, I like to just go on and make a few general observations here. We see that we have one diamond. Okay, just looking at your suit is taking us a little general look at your suits. Okay, you also have one spade card there, which is the nine of spades. And you have four clubs, okay, with the exception of the one that falls to the bottom of the deck. I notice that you have two court cards as well. So since you have a predominance of clubs, Taurus, you are very ambitious about your love situation. You know, additionally, clubs really kind of forebode well for kind of meeting new friends, even developing new relationships. You know, the key is not to really overburden yourself, Taurus, with plans and promises that might, you know, kind of overwhelm you. You know, you also have spades, you know, and you have diamonds there. You know, so there might be some bickering, but maybe not that much, but some arguing and things happening outside of your sphere of control, as well as perhaps material concerns. Also, interesting enough, you know, if you look at this spread here, you see that there are no cups present, you know, and this is a romantic specific reading. And of course, with a love type reading, you would expect to see a few cups in the reading. So since there are no cups present, this shows, you know, there might be a frivolous crust that you have that really isn't substantial enough to kind of constitute a true emotional connection. You know, and romantic intentions, Taurus, might be best suited elsewhere, or perhaps focus inward is perhaps in order for you. You know, equally valid. You know, the object of your affections may not be as interested in you at present as you are them. Okay, let's go on and look at your number trend here. Okay, just adding up the number with, you know, excluding the number that the 7 here. Your numerical theme is 8. So the message is really all about success and dominion, Taurus, you know, because this number therefore kind of asks you to kind of assume, you know, a little bit more in the way of responsibility and to kind of examine, you know, your choices wisely. And always remember that you kind of reap what you sow, and what tends to go around, you know, it usually comes back around, you know. And I'm noticing also that since most of your prevailing numbers are mostly high, you know, you're reaching the inner conclusion stage of this matter. So therefore, you can certainly expect radical changes. Okay, let's go on and look at your color combination there. Okay, since most of the cards here, we see here that you have a predominance of dark cards. So, hey, you have a lot of dark clouds in your reading. So, and you only have that little one red card there. So you can expect a lot of delays and perhaps disputes. And perhaps all sorts of kind of things that may not be going in the way that you would want it to go. But ultimately, you will achieve success, but you're going to have a lot of tremendous struggle along the way. Okay? So I'm also seeing here that there are two court cards there. We have the Jack of Clubs and the Queen of Clubs. And this combination sometimes signifies some type of infidelity that might be lurking in this relationship. And it also could show some type of a consultation or an opinion being offered by someone. This might also suggest that, you know, others are really involved in your situation and perhaps influencing your romantic issue. So I'm kind of feel that, you know, when you also have this type of combination there too, there could be a lot of parties or social gatherings going on, and perhaps lots of invitations that possibly are that might be extended to you. Okay. We also have the Five of Diamonds there, and let's combine that with the Ten of Clubs, and that shows financial loss, Taurus. Perhaps even loss of a job or income in some way, or perhaps loss in some way of money. Okay. And, the Five of Diamonds shows, it looks like, a conflict. Just looking at the arrangement here, it kind of lies within you, Taurus. And you might be torn somehow by indecision, perhaps with respect to several romantic, options. And need to kind of pin down a decision in terms of whom you would like to be with. Okay, we also have the Five of Diamonds there, and we have the Six of Clubs. And that combination kind of asks you to kind of take life a bit more seriously and stop looking, for ways to kind of divert your attention off your relationship, when problems looms. Like, it seems that when problems come about in your relationship, you don't deal with them, headstrong. You run off and do other things, and you need to do that, okay, in order to kind of improve your relationship, should you wish to do that. Okay, let's move right along and get right into your reading and look at your bottom card. We have the Seven of Clubs there. And so Seven of Clubs, of course, usually refers to an Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. I tend to see this as being Mars is in Leo. So this card, you guys, is all about confidence, independence, or perhaps valor. It shows that what might be important to you might not be as important to others, or particularly in this sense, your partner. It says that you're going to contemplate a marriage and kind of want to spend time with a romantic partner, but you're going to have difficulty balancing your time, Taurus. And although you want to be in a committed relationship, it appears, you're going to vacillate between whether you really want it or not. And since this card is also associated, Taurus, with fights or kind of being defensive at times, you might be fighting for this relationship or perhaps, defending your stance. And this card tend to always bring about a challenge or usually a competition. And as such, Taurus, there's a third party that perhaps is in fact in your relationship. And someone perhaps want to have what you have. But this card is kind of asking you to resolve this issue and to kind of talk things out, Okay, let's move right along and look at the central issue of your relationship. We have the Five of Diamonds there. So with that card, that refers to an earth sign. It could be a Capricorn, Aquarius, or a Taurus. I see this as Mercury being in Taurus. So you guys, this card is all about loss, destitution or worry or, kind of material trouble. And sometimes it tends to bring about health problems, loneliness and misfortune. You feel your love, with this card is somewhat unrequited, and you're going to long to be with your lover, okay? However, I feel that you're not going to reunite at this point or unite at this point because it seems like that there are a lot of communication and or sexual problems. And this card kind of therefore kind of denotes really, Taurus, lack on all levels, kind of making you really feel insecure, even to the point that it makes you feel that you're not even gonna measure up, or you just don't look good enough. You just really don't feel good about yourself. Okay, let's move on to the next card and examine what you feel internally. We have the Queen of Clubs falling there, and that refers to a fire sign. It could be a Leo, an Aries, or a Sagittarius. And Taurus, this card is all about taking a firmer stance in the situation. In this case, it's certainly your love affair. It's all about new avenues, the unexpected, and therefore says, Taurus, that a lover will or has upset you deeply, and you're going to be sick and tired of problems and kind of being hurt, and you're going to feel that really, Taurus, there is no option left but to kind of move on. However, I feel that what you kind of want out of a relationship, and you would really like to reignite it's either an existing relationship or perhaps one that you've had in the past and that you may have stepped off on, and you're kind of contemplating going back. Okay, let's move on and look at how your lover's feelings towards you, or how your lover's attitude about you. We have the Ten of Clubs that falls in that position, and that refers to a fire sign. It could be an Aries, Leo, and a Sagittarius. And I see this card as being Saturn in Sagittarius. So this card is all about effort. It's all about duplicity, hard work and kind of meeting practical difficulty. So I feel that your lover appears a bit confused about his or her association or perhaps stance with you. And he or she wonders what is kind of going on with you, Taurus. And, really, since this 10 is all about kind of being overtaxed and somewhat overburdened by problems, your lover sees you as kind of being depressed a bit and an individual who doesn't know how to cope right now with life and its circumstances. Okay, let's move right along and look at your feelings towards your lover. We have the Jack of Clubs there, and that, of course, also represents a fire sign, an Aries, Sagittarius, or Leo. I also feel a strong pull towards a Libra as well. Okay, so in cartomancy, this card is usually considered the best friends card. So this is potentially someone that you kind of want to unite with or have been worrying about because you feel things should be better, Taurus, and you've had no other choice but to kind of wait aimlessly for something really to kind of turn up for you. Therefore, this Jack says that you feel you and your lover have a soulmate type connection and kind of feel he or she is spontaneous and really open for anything at this moment. Okay? Let's move right along and look at the challenge that might crop up in your relationship or the challenge that you're going to continue to probably have to constantly deal with that is going to come up over and over again. We have the Nine of Spades appearing there. So that denotes an air sign. It could be an Aquarius, Gemini, or a Libra. But I also see it as being Mars as it being in Gemini. So this card is all about worrying about past hurt, Taurus. Suspicion or even senility in desolation. It kind of asks you to kind of wait for things to kind of turn around. However, in the meantime, it asks that perhaps you might need to apologize for the hurt that you may have caused someone. Particularly if your conscience is bothering you. It urges you not to kind of hide your feelings at this point, Taurus, your guilt. Perhaps the intervention of a counselor might help your situation. But an apology is certainly in order, okay? It wants you to stop blaming others and to kind of release this pain. And it urges you to kind of leave the past alone. Okay, let's move right along and look at the likely outcome to your situation as well as advice that I would like to impart to you. We have the Six of Clubs there. So with the Six of Clubs, Jupiter is in Leo. And of course it can be a just complete fire sign, an Aries, Sagittarius, or a Leo, but I kind of like to associate it using astrology. So Jupiter is in fact in Leo. So this card is all about optimism, you guys, success and good news. Perhaps that's going to come to you via an email or phone call or perhaps a letter. This card indicates that your lover is certainly going to acknowledge your values and that you can certainly make great strides in your relationship. But Taurus, you might need to consider other people's opinion to kind of prevent you from getting carried away somehow. This card shows that you might want things to be a bit differently or better. It shows that you're full of conviction, and it appears perhaps a younger individual or someone with whom or from whom that you've been estranged who is a bit younger than you is going to try to win your affections. And traveling might be in store as well for the two of you. And it shows that perhaps the two of you will overcome a past difficulty or conflict surrounding past people or past intruders, if you will, in your relationship. And you're going to receive great news and you're going to feel relieved, victorious in some way. Okay? This card even forebodes well, Taurus, for an improved sex life. But someone might try to kind of coerce you in doing something sexually that you'd rather not do. So keep that in mind and kindly say no, certainly if that's not something you would want to do. So nevertheless, the energy and time that you expended should now pay off, Taurus, I'm feeling. Therefore, this card is kind of urging you to kind of relax and to persevere despite any difficulties you might have encountered. For conditions of renewal are certainly approaching. And what I wanted to do before closing this reading was to just give you some more imparting advice from the Enchanted Map card from Colette Baring's deck. And the card that comes up is home. So the way that I see this card, Taurus, is that it seems that perhaps you might have been away from home or you've left something some type of security that you once had. You know, I feel that this card is kind of reminding you and asking you to return to your roots, you know, because that is where you truly belong. Okay? So, Taurus, this is what I have for you today. I'm certainly going to be posting more interesting readings for you guys. I know, you know, like I said, and like I will continue to say with all readings, you know, this reading may not have resonated with everyone. But for those for whom this reading was meant, I certainly hope that this reading provided you with food for thought. And I look forward to hearing your comments. And for you Taurus who have yet to subscribe to my channel, please take a moment to do so now. And as I said, I look forward to hearing your comments and posting more interesting readings. Have a good evening. Thank you.